Hi, my name is Master Sergeant Scott Roessler, and I want to take a minute to talk to my brothers and sisters out there that are having a rough time dealing with their post-deployment symptoms, from whether it's TBI or PTSD. I got a phone call from a trusted friend of mine and a nonprofit organization that helps pay for treatments that the VA doesn't cover. Once I did some research and I understood that CTE and TBI are pretty similar, with the fact that it is trauma to your head, it affects the brain, it creates damage that is what I thought was irreversible damage. And by sitting in the hyperbaric chamber for 70 minutes a day before I go to work, I've noticed over the past 4.5-5 weeks a major difference.
Hi, I'm Nikki Roessler. I'm Scott's wife. September 27th, 2014 was probably one of the worst days of my life. As a wife, we know when something's not right with our husbands. And I woke up that morning knowing that something wasn't right. All of a sudden my phone rings and I hear his voice on the other end. But it's not like the normal voice that I hear from him. And I could tell that something was wrong. And all I could hear in the background was just noise. And him repeating, "I'm fine, I'm okay, there's been an accident, but I'm good, I'm here." I finally get my Purple Heart I've worked my entire life for. With a giggle. And he says, "I'll call you back in a few hours," and he hangs up the phone on me. Until I finally took matters in my own hands and started calling team members and found out that my husband was okay, that he had been injured and taken a bullet wound to the hand, but he was fine, and there had been some casualties. Well, most of the other guys came home, but my husband refused and went back into the battle and continued to fight. I could tell that I lost a part of him when he came home from that deployment. And since he has been doing all of his treatments, he's come back. He's better than the Scott was when I originally met him before his first deployment. I can look him in the eyes when I talk to him now, and I can see that the pain is gone. I know there's some still there, but it's not as bad as it used to be, because now he can look at what's important in front of him, which is this little one and our other two. And he comes home instead of going somewhere to have some drinks to make the pain go away or help the memories, but it just made everything worse. But the treatment has done so much for him. God, it's amazing what it could do for other people. I mean, if you could take a guy like Scott, who is born and bred to do this job, and come home and act like nothing's wrong, those guys that come home and can't handle it really could benefit from this.
After waking up in the middle of the night, I would typically grab my pistol and walk out to the front door, look outside, walk to the back door, look outside. And then I'd surreptitiously exit my house and sneak around the side, make sure no one's doing something bad in the neighborhood. For whatever reason, I thought I was always under guard, or I always needed to be on guard. My fight or flight response was always switched on constantly. And I blame that on due to the fact that I had never had any downtime between my deployments. But 11 combat deployments and 50 some odd months deployed in combat in a direct action mindset with the special operations community, it becomes your way of life. You deal with all the explosions, you deal with all the concussions, you deal with all the losses. 38 good friends of mine are gone. Wives and children are left with nothing. It takes months for the bereavement issues to subside after you've lost a good buddy like that. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So I don't think doctors understand what damage has been done to our special operations community. I mean, I can only speak for those guys, but we're constantly jumping out of planes. We're constantly conducting breaches to gain entry into structures. We're constantly blowing up caches to get rid of the weapons that the enemy's using against us. We're definitely up close and personal when it comes to close air support, because usually we don't call it unless we absolutely need it. There's no way for us to eat grass to get away from the enemy. And we're eating all that overpressure over and over and over again. And it's doing damage. I can put my head down on my pillow and sleep until my alarm goes off. I don't dream about war every single night. And I'm not saying that it's all because of hyperbaric oxygen treatment, but I can tell you that the sleeping is definitely a positive sign that I've received from my treatment so far with the hyperbaric chamber. My attitude, I'm not as grumpy, I'm not as flippant as I used to be. I used to have a zero tolerance for any kind of bullshit. Now I kind of put up with some stuff. Whatever it's doing, it's working. And listen to a guy that has played Army since I was 5, as far back as I can remember. 38 good friends of mine are dead. Not all of them are from combat. Not all of them are directly related to enemy gunfire, but all of them are related to combat. Some of those 38 are suicide, and that is not the way. That's not the road that you need to go. I wish that those guys were still here because they'd go through this therapy and still be alive today with their families.